The American Red Cross originated in 1864 and served the United States military for the first time in 1898. Later, during World War I, the Red Cross provided assistance on the home front and overseas, creating a total war for the United States. On the home front, the Red Cross established services that helped veterans and their families. Overseas, they provided medical, recreational, and welfare services. Soldiers were extremely grateful for all these services that were offered during the war. General Pershing expressed his gratitude when he said,
"No organization since the world began has done such great constructive work with the efficiency, dispatch, sympathy, and understanding with which the Red Cross has accomplished its work."
The overall impact of the Red Cross during the wartime was extraordinary. This organization has secured a place in American society as they continue to serve the military and the public with their volunteer spirit and humanitarian impulses. Nurses were extremely important to the services of the Red Cross during World War I. Approximately 20,000 nurses were assigned to serve the military at this time. This large requirement made it difficult to supply nurses that had adequate training. To help meet this demand, the National Emergency Committee of Nursing was established in June of 1917. Later, this organization became known as the Committee of Nursing of the General Medical Board of the Council of National Defense. Even though nurses served in the military, they did not gain military rank until after the war. During the war, they were governed by military discipline. World War I emphasized the need for nurses that were adequately prepared, and the war led to the creation of more educational institutions for nursing, such as the Army School of Nursing. These advancements that the United States made during World War I illustrate its total involvement in the war. During the war, American nurses commonly encountered cases of influenza, shock, hemorrhage, infected wounds, and poisonous gas inhalation. Although nurses did not directly die from enemy attacks, these diseases led to the death of many nurses.
In addition to the nurses suffering, soldiers suffered greatly from several diseases. Due to this, the doctors on our own American soil had difficulty keeping the soldiers alive on our home front. Disease swept many of the training camps. Soldiers fell ill with the typhoid fever or the measles, and many of them died from these illnesses. Even though these diseases were deadly in some cases, doctors were able to learn about ways to prevent them. They learned about the importance of monitoring sanitation in the camp and invented new vaccinations for diseases like the typhoid fever. Along with the disease in America, the soldiers in Europe were stricken with severe battle wounds. And with these battle wounds, many of these soldiers died from shock. However, with the new advancements in medical technology, including better surgical methods, the use of x-rays, blood transfusion techniques, and the rapid evacuation of the wounded, many of the soldiers were able to be saved. To save many of these soldiers, blood transfusion was necessary to replace the lost blood. During World War I, the blood was transfused directly from the donor to the recipient. However, during this process, more times than not, the donor's blood would clot in the connecting tube. The doctors did not take the time to fix their mistakes, however, but would blame the death caused by the clot on irreversible shock. Because of this, another medical advancement was in movement. In 1917, it was discovered that adding a citrate solution to the blood would prevent the clotting and, in the end, save thousands of lives. Many of the battle wounds from shell fire caused infection, in which the soldier would get tetanus or gangrene, both of which were deadly if not treated correctly. Through these infections, however, the inventions of vaccines against them were invented. These vaccines are commonly used today. Along with the infection and blood transfusions, doctors commonly had to deal with poison gas, including mustard gas and phosgene gas, both of which flooded the lungs. Through this, the invention of gas masks and artificial respiration devices were created. As one can see through the medical challenges that most World War I doctors encountered, the war was a total war. Thousands of American soldiers and their families suffered greatly due to the loss of Americans. Although it was not fought on our home front, America was just as much in the war as other countries. It fought with them and suffered with them. The American soldiers were also getting help from overseas in their homeland. Fundraisers were created, and most clothing and surgical dressings were made by women and volunteers. And of course, through the war, things were learned. Major George A. Stewart of the War Demonstration Hospital of the Rockefeller Institute for Medical Research said, "The war taught us how to save more lives than the war cost." For American information, World War I was a total war. Americans suffered heavy losses, but through these losses, they gained valuable information.